Hi everybody, welcome to Caketastic Cakes. It's Jen and I'm going to show you today not one, not two, but three different ways that I made this Valentine's Day cake because I didn't know which one I liked best. So take a look. Now to start my cake, I made a white cake. I was trying some different recipes and I actually found one that I liked. And because I was just messing around with it, I just iced it with some regular old buttercream, regular crusting buttercream. It's just two tiers or two layers tall, so it's not like a real big cake or anything. But again, just gave it a nice crumb coating, cleaned up my edges as best as I could, and then stuck it in the fridge for a little bit. Now, while it was in the fridge, I took some of my original white buttercream icing that I made. I added a little bit of white food coloring to it to make it a little brighter color white. I took a little bit of it and I added a good squirt of some red gel food coloring to it. And it is the non-tasting kind, but I was I was nervous making it that red. It also turned it kind of runny, so I don't know if you guys have had that problem. So I ended up adding a little bit more powdered sugar to it. But then I had a nice bright red icing. Now I took my cake out of the fridge and I'm going with the second layer of icing now. So the top I just wanted to be a plain white. I should say I thought I wanted it to be a plain white, and then on the side I was like, oh, I'll do like a stripe of white around the top. I'll do some red around the bottom. I'll keep it a little more rustic looking, and then when I smooth it, it'll be all pretty, whatever. So that's what I did. I got my red, got my white, smooth it off. I'm like, okay, this is, very stripy, but fine. I patch it up a little bit, keep going with it till I'm happy with how smooth it is. I just keep smoothing the sides, scraping away the sides, add some more icing whenever I needed to fill in some holes or rough spots. And I was happy with the sides. I thought it looked okay. I was like, okay, got a good, nice start going here. I had to clean up the top a bit, which turned out to be a little bit more tricky than I anticipated. Since my cake is kind of stocky, I had to be careful when cleaning up the edge at the top that I didn't go down into the red. Now I took some more of the red and I put it into a couple of bags. I'm struggling with the bag because I have a little bit of red in an enormous bag. And I have a French tip in one, a French star tip in one bag, and just an open round tip in the other. I just have a heart there that I happen to have, and I'm using a toothpick to outline it. I'm not really pressing the thing down on top of the cake. I just wanted a nice outline of it. So I got my outline. Okay, everything's good so far. Now my idea was to make little swirls, like little rosettes almost, kinda, using the one side. And I'm going to go down the one half of the heart that I have there. So I'm just kind of making my little swirls, trying to fix my little tips wherever I can. And I'm just going to go down the one side. If I were to do this over again, this was just me messing around, I would probably use maybe a closed star tip and maybe make them bigger. But I was happy with how it looked. On the other side, I used my small open tip, my just open round tip, and just did little loops back and forth and put some dots on it just to kind of make it look a little viney or something, like vines or leaves, sort of, just, that kind of little lacy pattern that is quintessential to cakes and icing. And I just thought it gave it kind of a pretty look. It's a little different, a little classy looking. And then I'm like, okay, how could I mess this up? I'll mix the red and white icing together in a big old star tip and pipe a messy border around the top of it. Yeah, all right. So yeah, there's cake number one. I think if I had used a smaller tip, if I had done it neatly, it would have been a lot nicer. I hated it, so now I'm scraping it off. And fortunately, again, this was not for anybody. It was just for me to, mess around and see what there is to see. So I scrape it all off. Of course, I mess up my sides. I end up like touching the red decoration heart in the center a little bit. But okay, I'm like, hey, even this is kind of pretty. It's a little swirl, kind of a mix of colors on the side. I could have stopped there. Maybe I should have. But then I'm like, you know what? I got all this extra white and red icing now. I'm just going to stick it on the cake. So that's what I did. I went around the edge again. I went around the top where the border was and all mangled up. So I made it all one color now on the side and I scraped it and it made it kind of cool with the swirly look or the streaked look with the shading going on in there. And I thought that was kind of cool looking too. And I tried to clean it up, but again, it was pretty hard because, I was making a mess out of everything at this point. And I'm like, okay, I'll add some beads around the edges because why the heck not at this point? So I got some red pearls and I just started sticking them all over the place. And again, trying to leave the center alone as much as I could. I had some small white pearls that I just blotted on there here and there all over the place. And I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad either. So it's kind of busy and it's red and it's white and it's kind of pretty, it's not terrible. So yeah, you got three different cakes out of one cake decoration. And I don't know which one I like best. So let me know what you think, which one you like best in the comments below. And thank you for watching my video. I hope you found this helpful.